Khan, hey, Shalom. First of all, to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kwakadash Yahweh, who the word English calls God, Yahweh Shai, who the word English calls Jesus. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who has taught me this truth. I want to give a peace and blessings to the Akim across the four corners of the earth who teach this truth and risk their life to do so. It's going to be a quick video. Lord, when the video's edifying, only I can get some in front of this video. I'm going to read, get a couple different precepts. I'm going to get a couple precepts in Numbers, and I'm going to get a couple precepts in Obadiah. And if any other precepts come to mind, I'll grab them. But basically what this is going to be about is the extinction, the obliteration of, Esau, Edom. Okay, I have mentioned in the last video I did that, our people, they don't understand the scriptures, right? They don't understand, well, majority of people. If you're not in this truth, you don't understand the scriptures. But they don't understand the scriptures, therefore they think that the Most High is for everybody, and that's not the case. That's not the case. The Lord is really for the elect right now. Obviously, the elect people is Israel, right? But the Lord is really for the elect right now. 12,000 from each tribe is 12 tribes is 144,000 men. Okay, and then you got the 1/3 of Israel that's going to be delivered, which the elect is a part of the 1/3. But 2/3 of our people is going to be destroyed right along with, America. Okay, because of their unbelief, because they didn't want to get right. As a matter of fact, let me do this. I went into this or looked it up the other day. Let's go to ChatGPT real quick. Let's just look this up. Why was the children? Why was Israel destroyed in the wilderness after Egypt? Obviously, we'll just click this. It was majority of Israel that got destroyed in the wilderness. But it gives us a couple scriptures. But let's read it. It says, according to the Bible, Israel was destroyed in the wilderness because of persistent unbelief, rebellion, and disobedience. As a matter of fact, I was going to get it, but Numbers 14 is right there. It's a couple actually in Numbers 14 that, that'll show you why. This is Numbers 14 and 2. It says, and all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, would the Most High that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would the Most High we have died in this wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return into Egypt. So our people have the mindset of running back to the oppressor. We were slaves in Egypt. Okay, but our people have the mind of let's run back to the oppressor, right? Let's just stick with what we know, right? And you got to, keep in mind, this is after the deliverance. This is after miracles. This is after the plagues that got put on Egypt. This is after the Passover. This is after, and our people still showed unbelief. Okay, let me go down. This is Numbers 14 and 22. It says, because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. Right? And that land is talking about Israel. Okay? And our people ended up, dying in the wilderness. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, I think the younger generation was able to go in. Right? It says, Here are the main reasons Scripture. Here are the main reasons Scripture gives. It says they did not believe the Most High. After the Most High brought them out of Egypt with mighty miracles, they refused to trust Him to bring them into the promised land. Numbers 14:22-23 says they had seen the Most High's glory and miracles, yet tested Him repeatedly and would not obey His voice. And that's what we just got. It says they refused to enter. They refused to enter the promised land. It says when the 12 spies returned from Canaan, 10 gave a fearful report. The people believed the fearful report instead of the Most High's promise. So, right, they believed that, the Canaanites were, matter of fact, let me see. Type in grasshopper. It says Numbers 13. Numbers 13, and I want to get to the point, but man, I'll read 30. It says, and Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. Right? They were big, they were tall. Okay. It says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. I mean, it was, over exaggeration, right? You know what I'm saying? Or, oh, they bigger than us, they this and that, woo woo. But they didn't believe. They ultimately let fear take away their belief in the Lord and made them disregard the promises. Okay? Same thing, right? Even in today's term, right? It's prophesied that the Lord is going to come back and deliver his people, the will of the elect of his people, right? But yet our people still don't believe. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's grab it. North Country. Yep. This is Jeremiah 23 and 7. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that they shall no more say, the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, right? Because as we were just explaining, we got to the wilderness after leaving Egypt, leaving captivity. The Lord got us out of Egypt, right? Ancient Egypt, right? But it says, again, I read it again. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that they shall no more say, the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. The north country is talking about America, North America. Okay. And from all the countries whither I had driven them, right? Because Jacob scattered across the four corners of the earth, north, east, south, west. And wherever we're scattered at, right, we are, we're captive. Right, we're in captivity, and this is why you got brothers everywhere. You got brothers in Europe, you got brothers in North America, you got brothers on the islands, you got brothers all through North America. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, we got brothers in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. You got brothers everywhere. So, even Alaska, you got a brother out there. You know what I mean? So, Canada, right? So, it just goes to show you, man, like, we're everywhere, man. Okay? It says, but the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, which is North America, and from all the countries where I had driven them, where the Lord driven, our people, right? It says, and they shall dwell in their own land, and which proves is that we're not in the land right now. So who's in the land right now? Scripture said, bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, which we'll touch on that in just a moment. Matter of fact, I'll just grab that. Bastard. Ash. Zechariah 9:6, it says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Well, right now, the bastard that's dwelling in our land is those Amalekites. Okay, it is what it is, right? But in scripture say that when we're back in the land, there should be no more war. It's war over there every day. They just came out talking about they're joining the the Israeli military with the American military. Okay, which really it's damn near been like that the whole time for real. You know what I'm saying? But they just, they coming out making it public because, whatever Israel got into, America was always the big brother to back them, right or wrong. Okay. But let's go back to, let's read a little bit more. It says, when the 12 spies returned from Canaan, 10 gave a fearful report. The people believed the fearful report and settled the Most High's promise. As a result, the Most High declared that every adult except Joshua and Caleb from the generation would die in the wilderness. Right? It says, see Numbers 13:40. It says they continually murmured and complained. They complained about food, water. Moses even wanted to return. Moses wanted to return to Egypt. It says they complained about food, water, Moses, and even wanted to return to Egypt. I don't know why I can't read right now, man. It says examples of Egypt's scriptures, complaining about food, craving Egypt's food. Yeah, they were talking about the melons. And matter of fact, let's go to that. Numbers 11. Slovakia. Numbers 11. About gather. Really. Right here. And multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again and said, who? I want to just read. I just want to get to the point. So, it says we remember right here. Numbers 11:5 says we remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. And the thing about that manna was really, that was the Lord. And the manna was to every man's liking. Okay. And our people still, were ungrateful. You know what I mean? That's you got the Israelites out here, right? Teaching and preaching the truth. You got us out here on the highways and byways. And here's the time. Now is the time for you to get the knowledge, or understand the knowledge, and you don't want to understand it. And when you do hear something of understanding, it may click with you for a moment, and then somehow it just disappear, right? And then you get the murmuring and talking shit and, doing what niggas do, okay? But here it is, you got Jake, right? You got Judah and Israel. You got the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom together on the highways and byways across the world, teaching and preaching the truth, right? The truth of the Bible with 100% truth, right? And yet our people, you don't see lions out there, man. Okay, you don't see it, okay? Because what? They're blinded by America, just like they were blinded in the wilderness by the memories of Egypt. Nigga, we was getting fucked up out in Egypt, just like we getting fucked up in this modern day Egypt. Okay, it says they committed idolatry. It says they committed sexual immorality and joined in pagan worship. It says, okay, that's pretty much. I could get into Hebrew. I could not answer because of unbelief. That's the point. So let's get it though. Hebrews 3:17 through 19. Verse 3. This is Hebrews, the 3rd chapter. I read 17. It says, you know what? I'm going to take it. Boom, boom, wow. Beginning to work on for some. I read 16. Hebrews 3 and 16. It says, for some, when they had heard, did provoke, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses, but with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcasses fell in the wilderness? And to whom sware he that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believed not? And the rest you're not going to enter into now is the kingdom on the first go around. Okay? Because of your unbelief, because of the same unbelief you had back then, that you had back in leaving ancient Egypt, that you have now in this modern day Egypt. Okay? And I should say back in the wilderness, when we left out of ancient Egypt, right? And even in Egypt, y'all was giving Moses, complaining and, oh, you're making Pharaoh make our work a load harder. Now we got to go get our own straw and bricks and this, you know what I'm saying? So our people are stiff-necked and hard-headed, all right? And they lack belief. They lack faith. So it's a special thing if you have faith in Yahweh Shai. It's a gift. If you have belief in this thing, okay? And pray that it don't be taken away from you. You know what I mean? Pray that the Lord don't cast you away from his presence, man. Okay? Because this belief and this faith and this truth is the only thing we have, right? Which Yahweh Shai is the only thing we have, man. That's it. That's the only hope we have, man. Only protection we have. All right? It says, so we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. Right? Scripture say, if you faint-hearted, you won't be defended. Let me grab that. And I was gonna get into Obadiah and get into Numbers, right? 24, but I might save it for another video. The Spirit took me elsewhere, which is fine, Sirach 2 in 12. It says, woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands in the sinner that goeth 2 ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. So if you're faint-hearted, you won't be defended. Okay? It says, woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will you do when the Lord Yahweh shall visit you? Okay? What would you do when Yahweh shall visit you, man? Okay? And you done lost patience. Right? This is not a thing where we hide our talent, Nah. The Lord gave us this truth. It's our job to teach and preach it. The Lord showed us things that are not shown unto most men. It's our job to bid the elect to the marriage and keep ourselves right to the best of our ability. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Keep ourselves right to the best of our ability until the Lord come and deliver us up out of here, man. Us and our households, Lord willing, we be those men. Okay? But you can't be faint-hearted. Before I close it out, let's get it. What are the cons of being faint-hearted? I think I did this in a video before, but we're gonna do it again. Come on now. Being faint-hearted means being easily discouraged, fearful, or lacking courage when pressure comes. It says the cons are you may quit too early, right? Lost patience. Fear can control your decisions, right? Just like it did when the spies came with the report. You may miss good opportunities, right? Scripture say, was that in Sirach 4, observe the opportunity. Let me see. What is that? I think it's 4. Yeah, it says, Sirach 4:20, talking about wisdom. It says, observe the opportunity and beware of evil, and be not ashamed when it concerneth thy soul. Okay, let me go back to chat. So observe the opportunity. As a matter of fact, it's so much meat on that, man. I can't just. Sirach 4:17, it says, for at first she will walk with him by crooked ways and bring fear and dread upon him and torment him with her discipline until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. Just talking about wisdom. When you come into the truth, this is what's going to happen. Okay. Then will she return the straight way unto him and comfort him and show him her secrets, right? You start understanding things, you start getting that wisdom, start understanding the deepness of the scripture, start understanding how to move, start understanding how to apply the things that you've learned, which is wisdom. Start understanding how to live by these things, right? It says, but if you go wrong, she will forsake him and give him over to his own ruin. Observe the opportunity and beware of evil, and be not ashamed when it concerneth thy soul. Okay? So observe the opportunity, man. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, and take advantage of it in a righteous way. Okay? It says, you got demons that fuck with you all day, man. So when the spirit, I remember watching a brother video, it was a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago. The brother was like, man, that spirit is like like you waiting at the train station, right? When that train pull up, get on the train. You know what I'm saying? But if you miss the train, it's like, now you got to wait until the train come, and that train might not come the next day. And it's, you know what I'm saying? So when the spirit hit, man, if you can, and I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, if you can, read the scripture, pray, you know what I'm saying? Make a video, right? Maybe, send some news articles out to the ICAM, okay? Or read the news articles that ICAM sent out. It says other people can easily influence or intimidate you, and Esau comes with that tactic all the time, right? It says you may avoid necessary conflict instead of handling it, right? Right? You might avoid yourself. You might be avoiding that nigga in the inside, right? Scripture say a just man falleth 7 times, but he get back up again. But the wicked fall into mischief, right? It says it can weaken the people around you because fear spreads, right? Just like them spies came back with them fearful messages, right? But same thing even in the camp. You know what I mean? You got bros, right? When you demonstrate signs of strength, that could rub off on a bro. Okay? It says you may know what is right, but it's like it says you may know what is right, but be too afraid to do it, right? You might know you need to go out to the highways and byways. You need to, make videos. You need to be living a certain way, regardless of how I make you look, right? But being faint-hearted to make you try to be a people pleaser. And why you want to please the wicked? Why trimmest thy ways to seek love, as the scripture says? It says it can lead to regret because you keep wondering what would have happened if you stood firm. Run that back. It says it can lead to regret because you keep wondering what would have happened if you stood firm. And we understand what happens if you won't stand firm, right? We understand, just like these people in the world. What does it say in Wisdom of Solomon? Whatever our vaunting profited us, right? Nothing. You saw us teaching and preaching, right? But yeah, you were prideful. You wanted to be in this world. You wanted to do this. You wanted to do that. You wanted to be in modern day Egypt and make this paramount in your life and not make the truth paramount in your life. So then, we understand what happens to those who don't stand firm because you are faint-hearted. You won't be defended. In the Bible, faint-heartedness was taken seriously because a fearful soldier could discourage the whole army. Deuteronomy 20:8 says, the faint-hearted man was sent home so he would not make his brothers' hearts melt like his own. In simple terms, being faint-hearted can make fear stronger than your faith, wisdom, and responsibility. Okay? No need for us to be that. if we truly trust and have faith in Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Okay? And all of us have different measures of it. But the closer we get, let's try to double down, triple down, quadruple down on what we got. You know what I'm saying? If we can, if it be the Lord's will. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Okay, so with that, man, loading videos, edifying, lonely, I got something from this video. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakadash, and tell you, let's keep pushing on.